Good morning. Welcome to SimWorld today on this beautiful Monday morning, November 4th. We've got plenty to get to. I'm Marsh, joined by Rick Blaze. Good morning, Rick. How are you?
Marsh, how are you doing? I'm doing fantastically well this Monday morning. It's November 4th, my mom's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. But yeah, let's get to it.
All right, we got a lot to get to. We got a special guest from SimWorld Prep's going to join the show to round things out. We got a little bit of SimWorld U drama talk, but let's start with Sunday, where we're going to start with Sunday Night Football, where the Vikings take down the Colts 21-13. They move to 6-2 on the season. A big win over a not-so-great opponent, Rick, but it continues to muddy the very top-heavy NFC.
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings had to win that game, especially considering the Lions and the Packers playing earlier that day, right? Or the game before that. So you got to, if you're the Vikings, you have to keep up. Like they was expected to win. They was favorites coming in to win. They went and took care of business. As the Texans fans, I appreciate them. Just keep putting the Colts down lower and lower and lower and lower. We're fine with that. Like, let's just beat them up. They having issues right now, so we'll take it. But the Vikings, it was a must win because of the division that they're currently in.
Yes, and we will get to the Lions and Packers game, which was not really all that competitive in the second half. But the Vikings, this is a tough one to kind of gear up because it's the Colts. They're going on to backup quarterback yet again because they could not survive with Anthony Richardson as their starting quarterback. And they survived quite a bit because there was 2 interceptions by Sam Darnold. The first half, a fumble. He did not look all that efficient in the first half of this one, and of course they were down 7-0, but that's what this defense for Minnesota does. Again, it has been, to me, the most impressive unit of between the two of them. Yes, Sam Darnold has been fantastic. He has a great second half. Justin Jefferson gets rolling. But to me, it's the Vikings defense that has been most impressive because they silenced any opportunity that the Colts thought they would have at getting back into this game or taking full advantage of the opportunities that they had. Yeah, there were some missed field goals on both sides, but this should have really been a Colts at least 14-0 lead at the break because of the play of this offense. And Vikings defense just completely shut them down time and time again, Rick.
Yeah, the defense is their calling card this season. Sam Darnold played well in the second half, like you said. Really quick about Sam Darnold, I think that's the difference between really good quarterbacks and excellent quarterbacks. That's what makes Sam Darnold a really good quarterback because excellent quarterbacks have moments of excellence sustained from game to game to game. We've seen games where Sam Darnold looks okay. We've seen games where Sam Darnold looks really good. Excellent quarterbacks have moments where their sustainability of excellence is longer periods of stretches of time. Sam Darnold, it works fine with the offense, but the defense is the calling card. I don't know if the defensive coordinator is going to be there next year. I'm sure somebody's going to offer him a head coaching job because he's doing a phenomenal job. Right? Well, maybe not now because of the Miami debacle. Maybe he get another year, but Flores is a great coach, defensive coordinator. He got those guys playing really, really well on defense.
I'm going to push back. I don't think Sam Darnold is an excellent quarterback. I agree with you there, but I don't know that we can say excellent quarterbacks are sustained success without lapses because best quarterback in the league has really not been all that excellent this entire season. Chiefs play tonight on Monday Night Football.
He has terrible weapons too. He doesn't have the weapons Sam Darnold has at all.
Yeah, but he's also
nowhere near the weapons.
Load of picks. Again, I'm not. This is not me saying that Sam Darnold is suddenly excellent. I just would push back on the notion that an excellent quarterback can't have droughts. Obviously, again, Sam Darnold's not. But I think this is the proof of the value of the ancillary pieces. And to the point about Mahomes, they don't have a lot. And the Vikings, to your point, do. And they have the best wide receiver in football in Justin Jefferson, depending on who you're asking. Last night, he sure as heck looked like it. And they've got a coaching staff that knows how to put him in position. It's the same argument that you can make for Jared Goff. It's the same argument that you can make for Matthew Stafford, although I am much higher on Matthew Stafford than pretty much, I think, anybody. But there is a legitimate value in the other pieces, and the Vikings are showcasing that in full force. All right, let's go to the other game in that NFC North division where the Lions really roll through the Packers on the road in Lambeau Field. This was a game that really wasn't all that competitive. They'll tell you it's a 2-possession game, but for much of the second half, this thing was or pretty much all wrapped up. And again, they do it without needing a huge night from Jared Goff.
Yeah, the Lions are legit. Last year, if you're thinking last year was a fluke, get that out of your head. The Lions are legit. On the other side, I think the most important thing that the Packers need to decide is, do we sit Love until he's feeling 100%? Because obviously he's not 100%. So you got to think about long term. If you're trying to make a playoff push, do you sit him for the next 3 weeks? I don't know if they can afford to do that. I don't know if that's even a conversation. But this guy is definitely not 100%. And if it's an ankle or groin or one of those extremity type injuries, it's going to hamper over a long stretches of time. You need time for that stuff to heal. So the Packers are in an interesting spot right now with their quarterback situation, and the amount of wins they're trying to get in the season. It's going to be interesting to see what decision they make, because this team is definitely a much different team when Malik Willis is quarterback and not Love.
Well, they're 2-0. Well, really a 3-0 football team when Malik Willis is the quarterback, considering he beat Indy, Tennessee, and Jacksonville.
Don't let that fool you.
Well, they head into their bye week this week, which will give him a shot, and then they come back to Chicago. I'm not overly concerned with. I mean, a soft tissue injury, you do need a little bit of time. If it's a groin and they feel comfortable enough with him going out there against Detroit, then I think you have to feel comfortable enough about him kind of closing out the season. But again, bye week next week. They don't play again until they have to go up against Chicago on the road. And Chicago, despite they're the most deceptive 4-4 team in football. But the Lions, again, I mean, this is why it's so amazing that, or it leaves you with kind of the sense of wonder about what could have been if Aiden Hutchinson doesn't go down, because this defense is so incredible. They completely take you out of rhythm. They completely put you in positions where you're not capable of getting into your normal sets. They are winning on the road in places that they shouldn't be, or traditionally, they shouldn't be. Their only loss was this fluke loss to Tampa at home. Otherwise, they have just been beating up on teams, and they haven't needed to do it offensively, which to me is concerning if you're the rest of the NFC, because, and I mentioned this on the podcast that's going to drop this afternoon, the rest of the NFC just is not impressive, Rick. There's really not a lot of talent throughout this division. The number 2 team in the division right now is the Washington Commanders, and I'm not here to say that Jaden Daniels isn't a good quarterback, but we don't see rookie quarterbacks make long playoff runs. It doesn't matter who they are. They just don't happen. So for the NFC, not only are the Lions looking fantastic, but the rest of the division, or the rest of the conference, is not looking good really whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, Washington does have the opportunity to pull a C.J. Stroud in the Texans last year.
Yeah, but they didn't make a deep playoff run.
Who didn't make the deep playoff run?
Did you make the AFC Championship game?
We were a play away from making the AFC Championship.
We ran to Baltimore. Away from a lot of things.
We ran to Baltimore, beat our butts. We made the second round, which for the Washington Commanders would be for the Washington Commanders, that'd be a fantastic thing. They haven't won a playoff game in ages.
Not denying that, but that's not a deep run.
Also, deep means A of the championship game. Let's define deep.
So deep for you, one win is not enough to be like, wow, deep.
Coming from a Jacksonville Jaguars fan that's really rich.
Hey, I didn't say the Jaguars make deep runs either.
Coming from the Jacksonville Jaguars.
But one playoff win is not a deep playoff run. That's not you're not a contender. That's a top 8
But with a rookie quarterback, I think that's really, really good.
I didn't say that's not really good. I said, but they're not. I would be shocked if they were able to be competitive in the NFC. The point is that the NFC is not deep if that's your second best team. They could make a playoff run because the NFC does not have a bona fide number 2 team right now.
Then it was wide up for the Commanders, man.
I agree with that, but I'm saying, to the Lions' point, the Lions are positioned exceptionally well because the rest of the division, the rest of the conference is not exceptionally great. The number 2 team is Washington, who we have never seen a rookie quarterback make I'm sure they've made conference championship games, but make sensational runs to be a championship contender. The third best team is the Atlanta Falcons, who are 6-3 and still feel exceptionally wobbly. And then you have this giant mass of teams that are somewhere between 4-4 and 5-2, 6-2 now with the Vikings win. That it's tough to look around the NFC and say there's a legitimate contender for the Detroit Lions.
I mean, I would agree with that. I want to see the Green Bay Packers when Love is healthy. I think they pose the best threat against Detroit.
I agree with that.
But Detroit looks good for sure.
All right, let's head to a team that doesn't look good, and that's the Kansas Jayhawks. And Bill Self had some strong words. I know I tweeted about this, Rick. You tweeted about this last week. This was a kind of a mid-season thing. They dropped back out of the SP Top 25 after getting their way back into it. What is your thoughts on this team? Is this team, I mean, because there's good talent at the top. Madison Miles III is a really good talent. Nas Hall has looked fantastic. Charles Pinkard in their last game was the only player that Bill Self believed actually showed up. What's your opinion on this team, and do you think they have the capability to turn it around?
I think they have, a lot of those guys you mentioned are very young players. So I think when you have a young team, and look, listen, I think Bill Self just had a frustrated. We forget that these coaches and players have other lives too. I think it's a situation where something may have happened outside of sports in real life for them, and then your team have a letdown, and all that's composited together. This is not the first time Bill Self's team has had a bad loss, right? This is not the first. It's not gonna be the last time your team have a bad loss. I think you're trying to wake his players up. Maybe he was grumpy himself, trying to, make sure he gets a hold of the squad before it gets out of hand. But I'm not really concerned about Kansas as much as some people may be concerned about. You got freshmen in Nas Hall, as well as Pinkert. It's ups and downs, ebbs and flows with freshman play. So I think they're going to be just fine. I think at this point, here comes a jab. They have just as much shot as, let's say, Tennessee, who's still miraculously in the top 25. Don't get me started on that.
So we're saying we're going to chalk up Bill Self's frustration to him having a bad day.
Yes,
that's your argument.
Yes.
We do have him, but that's what we're chalking up his outburst is a bad day. Not the fact that he lost by 12 to Rutgers, not the fact that his team lost by 10 to Georgia Tech, not the fact that his team lost by, I can't do quick math, 18 to that Tennessee team that you just said is miraculously still ranked in the top 25. Not the fact that this team is getting outscored by 3 points per game. Not the fact that this team is shooting 30% from deep on the season. Not the fact that this team can't get rebounds, that they don't block the shots, and that they don't do anything exceptionally well on the defensive side of the ball. None of that matters. It's that he had a bad day.
No, I'm saying that
That's
matters.
That's an asinine thought.
I'm not saying that doesn't matter. I'm saying the combustion part of him exploding on his players.
It's because they stink. It's because they stink, Rick.
Is this the worst?
They scored 44 points against Rutgers.
Is this the worst Kansas team?
67 against Tennessee. Is this the worst Kansas team? Probably not. But it's a hell of a lot better because this is a team that he said is the deepest team that he's ever had. And this is a team that a season ago with Madison Miles, who was considered a top 15 talent, who last season got them to, I believe, the Elite Eight. This is a team that Nas Hall is averaging 18 points per game and has looked unstoppable when they've given him the basketball. This is a team that has not used Charles Pinkard efficiently, despite the fact that he's had some struggles, but he's also had some big games recently as well. This is a team that he can't figure out what he's trying to do with right now. That's the problem. It's not a bad day for Bill Self.
Does Bill Self and the Kansas Jayhawks make the tournament? Yes or no?
In the Big 12, let me see what the current Big 12 standings are before I make a proclamation. Excuse me, Hoopsteria. Give me 1 second. Big 12, let's see. Where do they sit currently? Texas, Baylor, Oklahoma. They're number 4 right now. I'll tell you what. I think they do because the rest of the Big 12 is not exceptionally great right now. Texas is 6-3. Baylor's 4-3. Oklahoma. Those are the only 2 teams in the entire Big 12. This is I've not even paid attention to that. This is actually kind of surprising. There's only 2 teams in the Big 12 right now that are above 500, and the third best team is Oklahoma, who has been Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hiding It all season at 4 and 5. We don't really know who they are.
Well,
Right.
my point is, if they can make Hoopsteria, then they have a shot as much as most teams.
Well, we're going to bring on a coach that does know what to do with his team because this team is sitting undefeated and the proud champions of the Appalachian Basketball Championship, Coach C.C. Lightle of Beyond the Arch. Good morning, Coach. How are you doing?
Hey guys, it's always good to be here. Want to give a shout out, Mama Blaze. Happy birthday as well. So you gotta show love to them. Gotta show love to the moms, you know. But yeah,
For sure.
I'm doing really good, guys. About yourself.
Coach, we just talked about a Kansas team that can't really string together wins. You guys have no problem with that, including what was not even a competitive championship game, 73-47 over Queen City Kings. That's not a discredit to Queen City Kings. I'm trying to prop you guys up. First appearance of the season. What are your thoughts? Obviously, you have to be pleased with an Appalachian Basketball Championship, but overall thoughts on your guys' team after a quick little run there and a tournament championship to kick off the season.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I want to give a shout out to the teams that are in that tournament as well. I mean, everybody was very competitive, very good teams. You know, going up against Southeast Select and Run DMV as well. And you know, we've been itching to play for such a long time, and I think it kind of showed, right? And so, you know, the mindset coming into this was we want to just get out on a hot start. We wanted to get out and just make some noise and show who we really are, right? Because, you know, BTA obviously had a down season last season, but, you know, we had some things that happened, injuries and this and that. Won't blame everything on that. Plus, you know, some coaching adjustments that I just didn't adjust correctly. So coming out here and with the team that we have, we really wanted to just showcase that team ball mentality that we had. And I couldn't be more prouder of how these guys played in this tournament.
Coach, I want to give your team some credit. First of all, congratulations on a win. But I want to really give you credit as coach as well, because you've played against some teams who historically their coaches are historic SimWorld prep coaches, you know, with Coach Lee at Southeast Select and the coach at Run DMV. These are historic team or clubs that you guys had, for lack of a better word, came in and bust up a can of whoop ass on them and kind of just ran the table, right? How did you coming into the tournament? Did you have a feeling that your team was going to be as good and as sharp as they displayed throughout the tournament that they got the win?
Well, I think when you look at it, obviously, going into any type of tournament like that, your goal is to win it, right? And these guys had that mentality and know what they could do. We've seen it in practice every day. You know, we came out a little bit of a struggle, right? I mean, 59-47 over Queen City in that first game, and you know, Jackson Sutton led us with 17 and looked fantastic. But as we got into the tournament, we just got better, right? You would think in this type of situation, you would get more tired, you would have maybe less scoring in the end, but really we actually got better offensively as the tournament went. So it just shows the mentality that this team has. And you know, they played fantastic as it came down to the end of the tournament there.
I want to talk about Jackson Sutton, Coach. He's not somebody that I think was on many radars coming into this season. Not in a bad way, but maybe not as like a top recruit. And I think there were points of that tournament where he looked like the best player on the floor. I think, you know, going up against Marco Jacobs twice. And Marco Jacobs already committed to North Carolina. I'm not discrediting any of his talent. He is an exceptional basketball player. But there were moments when Jackson Sutton, including that entire first matchup that you mentioned, where he looked like the better basketball player. What's been your opinion of Jackson Sutton's kind of first little introduction here this season? And where do you think he can go from here?
Yeah, first now, shout out to all the SimWorld coaches that did not watch this kid, right? And I want to thank you for not doing your job. So let me say this, right? I mean, you know, first off, this is what I see every day, right? Jackson's one of the hardest workers on this team. I mean, every member of this team is hardworking, but I mean, to go up against Marco Jacobs, and Jacobs only had 6 points in that first game. I mean, he just did not look great. Right. And even in the second game, I mean, he came out in the final and had 16, but he shot like 37% from the floor, which is, it's okay in my mind. But, you know, Jackson he we moved him up to the 3 spot. He wasn't really used to that spot, but really he looked like as if he's been playing there his whole life. And he just showed the leadership that he has. He showed the team player that he could be, and the guy that could say, hey, I could be that lead guy if need to be. That's not our mentality, obviously, as you could tell from the others box scores, but I think he had a fantastic tournament, just like, the rest of these guys. I mean, they all just played a little bit above my expectations. I can say that.
Rick, you got one more to close us out? Oh, looks like we got some tech issues. But look, Coach Lightle, I appreciate. Do we got Rick? I apologize. We got some tech issues.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
There we go. There we go, Rick. We need one more question.
You trying to keep me down, Marsh.
I would never do that.
Trying to keep me down.
I would never do that.
Coach, again, congratulations on your win on the tournament. Much success to you and your team. Again, Jackson Sutton. So for the teams that I like our coach for the teams that went to sleep, congratulations on you for finding those diamonds in the rough, and more importantly, players who fit the style of play that you're trying to play. Let me ask you, Coach, last question. Did he fit just right into your system, or was it kind of, okay, I saw this kid, he's kind of rolling, let me kind of curtail some things to what he does best? How was the give and take in your system and how it fits, Coach Sutton? And that might help out some other coaches with their current players, right, who are struggling to get their players at the most out of their players in their system.
Yeah, so obviously, talking to each of these guys, right, and all of these guys are St. Louis guys, right? They're all Missouri guys, and we're really grateful that we were able to keep a lot of the in-home talent here, right? That's one of my main things I wanted to do as a coach. And so I sat down with each of these kids and was just like, how can I tailor our offense to your game? What can we do to shine you up, right? Obviously my goal is to win games, but my other goal is to get these kids up to the next level and be prepared. And so once we had that conversation with everybody, the coaching staff got together and just really tailored the game to make sure that we could make each player shine. I mean, look at what Tyree Bush was able to do during that tournament, right? I mean, that guy is unbelievable, and he is going to be a stud. Ronaldo Shakeback is going to be a stud down the road, and it's because of the fact I think we were able to really just collectively come together as a team, as a unit, and say, okay, let's figure out the game plan to make everybody shine, and and I think you were able to see that firsthand in this tournament.
Coach, appreciate you taking the time this morning. Apologize that Rick and I just had to jabber a little bit longer to get you on here, but it was great to see you here this morning. Congrats on the win. Best of luck this season. That's 5 dance points for you guys. Obviously, a great positioning for the postseason play for you and the squad. So congrats on the win. Thanks again for joining us, and look forward to seeing you on here again.
Thank you again, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, that is our show. We're coming back tomorrow morning. Some Monday Night Football talk, some SWBA talk on a Tuesday. So, Rick, as always, great to see you. Happy birthday to your mother. And hopefully you guys have some great plans for her tonight. And we will see you back here on Friday, I believe. So, all right, that's our show. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning here on SimWorld TV, the only place you can see the game, be the game.
This has been a presentation of SimWorld Sports.